Hello.
No, the
How you doing, my friend?
hello there.
So, you've been playing Gen 4 recently, is that correct?
I have been playing Gen 4 recently.
Okay, I just checked my order, I can hear myself, cool. Um, so, how long ago was it that you played Gen 4 for the first time? Is it on release?
Yeah, or close to
Hmm.
release for both of them.
Like, obviously,
Was the first time I played Gen 4.
yeah, for me, it was the case of like, since I'd got into Gen 3, like, as we kind of discussed a couple of weeks back, we kind of took last week off, you were playing Platinum. You really wanted to play it before
I
this one.
I wanted to replay it because I didn't remember that much about it. I only played through to the Elite Four. I didn't play any post game stuff.
Mm. Yeah, this is like even when I just been doing my research, it's like okay, this game is kind of beefy in terms of how much it added. It's kind of
Yes,
ridiculous, and
quite a chunky game, honestly.
absolutely. Like I thought honestly, like today we're gonna be just doing Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. I was thinking of getting Hard Gold, Soul, Silver in on this, but having literally just written down notes of Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, it was as much as Gen 3 had, which is kind of
Yeah,
terrifying. It just shows that this game beefy and actually added a lot because
yeah. And I suggested it because I kind of want to play through Soul Silver before we actually do that again
mm,
because I need to refresh myself on just the game itself.
yeah, I think the thing with Gen 1 to 3 is because I'm a lot more familiar with those games.
I can remember Gen 3,
Yeah,
regardless how long it's been.
Gen 1 Gen 1 I couldn't, but Gen 2 and Gen 3 I know off the top of my head. I have played those to death.
Yeah, I know Gen 2 off the top of my head, but I want to replay the Gen 4 version of it because
Yeah.
it's just going to be
Yeah, for
much
me
easier.
I replayed both of them last year, but more or less back to back.
Yeah, I haven't played through Platinum in like a number of years. I
Mm,
started playthroughs multiple times, but I usually I struggle to play through older Pokemon games anymore.
mhm.
Really, if they're not like incredibly different compared to what is available now, I tend to just get bored halfway through. And that's nothing against the game. It's just I feel like I've kind of gone
Mhm.
past a lot of stuff with like older Pokemon games. Like Gen 3 I can always play, but Gen 4 is just kind of weird for me
Yeah,
these
I
days.
get you on that. Like Gen 4 is that kind of I don't want to say middle point of Pokemon, but it's definitely close to the tipping point of when a lot
Yeah,
of people from early on really jump off,
yeah.
and it kind of shows because like for me for the longest time, I stopped after Gen 4 for a long time, and I played. Why is my PS4 on? My PS4 just turned itself on. um, I'm just gonna turn it off. So I just find that it's very interesting to look at Gen 4 because, like I said, the tipping point. But you also go, why is it a tipping point? Because so many people love Gen 4. Obviously, each gen has people who love it. And Gen 4 is probably one of the loudest in terms of that. Would you agree?
Loud in terms of what, sorry?
Basically praising the games.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I can see it in both ways. I can see why it's great and why it's not. And Gen 4 had honestly a huge train going, I feel like. Because in my opinion, it did to Gen 3 what Gen 2 did to Gen 1, if you think about it. Where Gen 3 was like the solid Pokemon experience, and Gen 4 gave it the Gen 2 upgrade. Because in
yes,
this, you see the immediate return, mostly because of the new DS hardware, and very evidently on that, you see the introduction of the Poketch, which is basically is your second screen for this game, which
yeah,
is which becomes which became a staple, and they still used it even in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, really, where you basically your Rotom Dex is down there. There's
Yeah,
always,
they
ever since
yeah
then
they
there's
put
always been a
something on the bottom
variant.
screen there. Yeah,
Mm,
in every game
yeah,
since the DS ones.
this game's a trendsetter. It brought back the daily and weekly events again, obviously due to the DS hardware having the clock built in. So therefore, it was not reliant on the cartridge as heavy as it used to be.
Yep.
Now it can basically read off the console, and that's a big step because Gen 4 changes a lot. It's the start of trying to become 3D because everything is 2D, but the art is in a way that is kind of pushing 3D.
Yeah, it's kind of pushing the edge of 2.5D
Mm,
technically,
absolutely.
and it does use 3D elements in
Hmm.
some of its like in-game like moments.
Oh, absolutely. For the example, would be an
When Giratina appears in Platinum, that's
Oh,
basically like
absolutely.
a 3D thing.
Another
Like
example. I forget the name of the city. This is a point to make. I am terrible with the Gen 4 city names. They're all incredibly random to me. But the one with the Iron Gym.
Canalave.
Sorry, I can't believe I call it I. I thought it was Canalave. It's still Gym. Yeah, when the bridge goes up, when you go on the
Yeah,
boat, it does it in 3D, I believe.
yeah,
And this is groundbreaking for the Pokemon series. And this is like kind of still groundbreaking for the DS because this is early DS when companies were scared of using 3D in it.
yeah.
But that's just that we're talking about. They're just on a performance level. This game, particularly Diamond and Pearl, really, they suffered significantly for this. And this is we'll come to this again later. But I think the gains were obviously with a significant cost because these games, this engine was a little bit premature. I believe. I think it's something that would become perfected in Gen
Yeah,
5.
yeah,
And in terms of other changes, the most important, the absolute fundamental change that is still applied to this day is the physical and special split, which has completely changed the
aka,
game up.
aka the God tier split,
So, you
because
know how that goes.
it actually made some Pokemon useful. So
Mm.
if you weren't here for the Gen 3 one, basically in both Gen 3 and Gen 2 and 1, move type whether moves were physical or special weren't actually based on what the move actually was. It was based on the type. So take an example. So Absol is a one stage dark type with actually a pretty high attack stat. But the issue is its main stab, dark, was all special.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't have anything they could use. And on the other side of it, you have Gengar, who is known for having high special attack. But Ghost, until Gen 4, was a physical type. So it couldn't use any of its own stab because of the frankly rubbish typing that it had.
Mm-hmm.
Then what Gen 4 did was it just whether moves were physical or special became based on the move itself rather than the type it belonged to. So it actually made a bunch of Pokemon actually viable to be used because you could actually use their own stabs. Like another example is Crawdon. Now that Crawdon has both water physical moves and physical dark type moves, it could actually be used. Like it wasn't used most of the time in competitive, but it could actually be used in Gen 4 for what it was actually meant to be, a strong physical attacker.
Mm.
Which is like one of the best things that any Pokemon gen has ever actually brought to the table. That's like the biggest change that they've ever done.
Mm.
Even going into later gens, even the jump to 3D, the physical special split is still something that people will always remember.
Yeah, and honestly, like it's one of those ones that kind of went under the rug a little bit until unless you're like a hardcore, absolutely hardcore, knowing the competitive. It was kind of
Unless
just
you were keeping
casually
up with everything.
because when you're advertising a Pokemon game, you're not gonna go and advertise, hey, this. You're just going, look at the region, it's pretty.
Yeah.
Pokemon, they're pretty. You go on that,
Yep.
and this is just because I didn't honestly know about the whole physical special split for quite a long time, and I think it was you who just explained it to me when I was playing Gen 6, and I was like, wow, that's a game break. That's not a game break, a game changer completely,
Yeah,
because
it did.
it kind of
It
completes the battle system.
yes, it does.
Because once you go to it, you can't go back.
Yeah.
Because even though Gen 3 is good in terms of this, it's just like it's just a case of knowing which Pokemon are good. It makes it a lot easier to know what's good and what's bad.
Well, basically, it makes it so every Pokemon could actually be used.
Mm-hmm.
Like, casually, there are some Pokemon in Gen 1, 2, and 3 that are just absolutely garbage because they have, like, nothing that they could use. And it's through no fault of their own. Just if their type is a special one and they're a physical Pokemon,
Mm-hmm.
there's just nothing that they can do. So, like, a lot of water types, like, as I said before, Crawdon, all water moves were special in Gen 3.
Mm-hmm.
They can't use a stab. So it automatically is at a disadvantage to say like a fighting type that can actually use its stab because fighting was physical.
Yeah.
So it just broadened the horizons of what you could potentially use, and it just made everything work because you could now have actual mixed sets with actual diversity with what your moves are.
Mm-hmm.
So it was actually a fairly broken thing when it became a thing.
Yeah. And in terms of other editions, like I said, the daily and weekly events came back, influenced by
Yep,
Gen
Drift
2.
Loons on Friday.
Pardon?
Driftloons on Fridays at the
Mm-hmm.
Valley Wind Works.
Yeah. Like it definitely just again the fact I say it feels like this does to Gen 1 what Gen this does to Gen 3 or Gen 2 did to Gen 1. It makes a lot of sense given that a lot of links are there to Gen 4. Sorry, Gen 2. Like with
Yeah.
Old Silver. It feels absolutely in sync with that generation. Even from the story wise, it's absolutely in sync. The start of the game, you see the Lake of Rage and the Gyarados. There's the change up of the TMs. Flash is now a TM again. Obviously in sync with what would later become Hard Gold, Soul Silver. Adding in a lot of Gen 2 evolutions into Gen 4. It was
Yeah.
very blatant that they were pushing this, and they didn't just half dip their toes in, they went full in with this. And you just see a significant amount of love and care, not just to Gen 2, but Gen 1 and Gen 3 Pokemon as well. This was not just a bias on Gen 2, it was a very well done. Like, new Pokemon like Roserade, a Gen 3 Pokemon,
Yeah.
evolution
Then you
thing.
have Electivire, which is a Gen 1 evolution.
Mm-hmm.
You have obviously Mamoswine, which is a Gen 2 evolution.
Mm-hmm. It,
Uh, they they basically gave a lot of Pokemon that were previously either single evolution or just basically not very good. Much like what they did later with like Mega Evolutions, where
mm-hmm.
they gave a few where they gave a few Pokemon basically not an advantage, but they gave them something new to like flavor them up and like make them actually more usable
Mm-hmm.
when like well, I say more usable. Whenever I say more usable, it always ends up back in competitive. But basically, they make them better and more fun to be used in game because they aren't going to die as much. Basically,
I'm actually just quickly looking through the Gen 4 Pokemon that were added, and it's kind of staggering just how many. Cause this is the one they literally it was up to
there was
493 now.
120-ish they added. I
About
think
you're in the ballpark there, and
there was
you
about 120 that they added, and it was actually it was as much as Gen 2 added
mm,
basically. Because
yeah
Gen 2 also added a lot of Pokemon as well. Gen 3 was about 100-ish. They only started to get a bit less when it got to Gen 6.
yeah because
But
obviously Gen 5 it obviously came to the point where they realized, oh, we can't continuously put that many out.
before Legendaries, Gen 6 was 69 Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just staggering. Like, I just literally just ran through the list, and there a lot of them are tied to Gen 2, 1 or 2, like Magmortar, Togekiss.
Yep,
Is
Togekiss,
Yan Mega?
Yamega, yep, Yamega
Gliscor,
is evolution.
Mamoswine, Porygon
Score,
Z,
Mammothine,
Gallade is Gen
Weavile,
3, Probopass is Gen 3, Dusknoir is
Weavile.
Gen 3, Froslass is Gen 3. This is what I mean, it's very well balanced. There is no Gen 1 or Gen 2 or Gen 3 bias here.
Yep,
And,
it is all balanced within itself,
mm,
and it makes every Pokemon actually like. There's not many Pokemon that feel like really useless in Gen 4. You can actually generally use any Pokemon on your team.
mm. And speaking of Pokemon, I honestly think that the Sinnoh Dex, like, as in the Pokemon that added, I honestly, it's my favorite set of Pokemon that they added ever
I honestly like the Gen 4 Pokemon a lot, yeah.
because
I
it's
will
so
always have a
iconic.
soft spot for Gen 5, but Gen 4 is
Mm.
a solid entry of Pokemon.
Like I literally just scroll through it right now and I see there like so many that I love. Like I can literally just name them. Obviously, like I don't want to go overboard. Like, I even like Staraptor quite a lot.
Staraptor is good. One of my favorite Pokemon is always Wormadam.
Mm.
I like the steel version of Wormadam.
Yeah, you got Luxray, who is honestly one of my favorite like kind of early dog kind of types they have.
Yep.
Roserade, I love. The fossil
I love
types are cool.
I love the meme of Bebarrel.
Mm-hmm. I like
I
Bibero.
actually I actually really like Kricketune as well.
Yeah.
But when we get later on, I really like the Garchomp line.
Mm.
Really like the
Yeah,
Garchomp line.
it's one of the most popular dragon types. If anything, it's up
Yeah,
there with, I feel like that and the, what's the Gen 5 one? The main,
Hydreigon.
is that correct? Is that the one? Is that
Hydreigon.
the triple head one?
Yeah.
What's the other ones?
What do you want to see the other one?
I feel there's two other. I feel there's like three dragon lines in Gen 5.
There's Haxorus and
Hax.
there is Druddigon as
Yeah,
well.
Haxorus. I feel like Haxorus is incredibly popular, but maybe I'm wrong.
Haxorus is pretty popular, yeah.
Yeah, but like,
Other like also like Gen 4, I like using all the starters as well. All the starters are solid.
mm,
They're all very solid.
yeah, I see.
Infernape's one of the best Pokemon. Was actually one of the best Pokemon competitively for a number of gens after Gen 4. Empoleon is just a very good Pokemon for playing through the game. And so is Torterra actually. Torterra is a very underrated Pokemon for like getting through the game.
Yeah, I honestly don't really like the starters as much as people do, but I can appreciate that they're genuinely good set of starters.
And also something else that I like about the starters is that they're all counters to each other. Really, if you think about it in context.
Well, yeah, because well,
Because
they can fight they can fight their weakness.
yeah, because even though Inferno is oh no the dreaded firefighting type that everyone hates, I generally don't mind about that being a thing, by the way. But basically Empoleon is part steel type, so the fighting part of Inferno can fight the steel,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Ground type
because
for Torterra.
the ground type can counter the fire, and the interesting part of the Empoleon and Torterra dynamic is the part steel type actually gets rid of the grass weakness on Empoleon.
Mm.
But it gives him a weakness to the other side of Torterra, which is the ground type. But water type moves are now normally effective because obviously ground is super affected by water and grass is resistant, so it's just neutral. So they felt like they were all kind of designed to be like in the same kind of ballpark.
Absolutely. Yeah, it definitely felt like there was a lot of thought, which is definitely the case because they started pushing Gen 4, this hype train, quite early. Because they have I feel like they pushed Gen 4 in the anime a lot more than any other gen. Like they would, and in the games as well, they were showing these Pokemon off in Gen 3 games. It was very blatant. They were very go all in with Gen 4.
Yeah, they were all in with Gen 4, and then Diamond and Pearl were some of the most hated games in the series. But you know,
The anime itself for Diamond and Pearl is honestly considered the best
it's
one.
actually fantastic. It's honestly fantastic. It's really good,
Yeah,
and it actually shows Ash actually being a good trainer, which is actually kind of sparse in the anime these days. Like,
yeah.
I know Gen 6 had him as a good trainer, but Gen 5 took him back to
Oh,
oh no, I make mistakes all the time.
yeah. It really depends on how said anime is doing.
Yeah.
Because obviously, Gen 4 seems serious, Gen 6 seems serious, but then you get Gen 7 and 8, which are kind of a lot more goofy because
I
people like
honestly
that
don't
more.
mind. Yeah, like the Gen 7 one being goofy is fine because Gen 7 was a very different region.
Yeah, so it makes sense to have a change there.
But yeah,
All of this, and we barely even actually mentioned the game itself so far. This is a statement of how much there is,
yeah.
how
So
big Gen
kind
4
of
is.
start things off. We're probably going to end up talking about Platinum more because Platinum actually is the definitive version of Gen 4.
Mhm.
Um, someone I've been playing recently as well over the last week, a couple of weeks to prepare for this. I will be honest, I don't like Platinum as much as I do Diamond and Pearl, but that is just my blind nostalgia talking.
I think that
Because
honestly comes from. Come.
because because I was a Diamond and Pearl kid when
Mhm.
I was younger, so I am very much a give me those bad Gen 4 mechanics and slow HP bars.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
because it's weird, because Platinum is the definitively better game, but I just like Diamond and Pearl more.
Mhm. I get it's the same kind of thing that people get with the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon thing. Like I think I prefer Sun and Moon, even though I know Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are better games.
Yeah,
They're objectively better
they're
outside the
objectively
story,
better.
but
I have a couple of issues with those games, but they're more related to very, very different things. But
mm.
yeah,
Like what,
objectively,
like you picking the same team as the rival.
okay, let's not go too far into that yet. We need to.
It's a little teaser. Yeah, it's like kind of ridiculous, but no gameplay. I think we should probably just honestly go and just do the good stuff and then the bad stuff, and then honestly just evaluate at the end because this is the one that's closest to an essay when you look at
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So honestly,
Um,
what do you want to start on this? Because we've
right.
already covered
So
the Pokemon.
I think the thing we need to actually address is the battle mechanics because that's what people, in terms of like the battle screen, because that's when people have complaints about Gen 4, it's always related to the speed of the battle system,
Mm.
which is a big downside of Gen 4. Gen
Yes,
4 is a very, 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 very slow video game, even in Platinum. Your walking speed, bike speed, and running speed just is like really, really slow comparatively to every other gen.
especially
Like
coming
they,
from Gen 3,
yeah,
which is unbelievably fast.
your running speed is so fast in Gen 3 that, and the Mac bike is basically like driving a car.
Mm.
But yeah, it's just a very, very generally slow game. But that's not exactly to its detriment. It's just kind of I honestly think it's related to loading and other things.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely there. I think because
Because if you've seen speedruns of Gen 4, especially Heart Gold Soul Silver, and especially Diamond and Pearl, because Pearl only sends their 50-minute run, you can do something if you move too fast on the map called tweaking, which is basically you force another bit of the map to load on top of you, and then you can get out of bounds.
hmm
So, so the slow movement is definitely related to something like loading or like making sure that the like everything is in place for you, so you don't actually
yeah,
like screw yourself over like that.
hmm yeah, because the slowness of it honestly didn't it doesn't just pop up in terms of the engine. It pops up in terms of how the game paces itself, regardless. Because even with the slow engine, I feel like it is a very slow game.
Yeah, I will be real. I struggled to get through it like the last couple of weeks. I only did it to so I actually remembered most of the game.
Mm.
But yeah, I very much struggled to get through it. It's very hard to get through the game after playing some of the later gens.
Mostly Gen 5, basically. Gen 5 kind of it kind of basically takes the Gen 4 foundation and goes fast,
Yeah,
which basically is kind of an irreversible thing. You cannot go back after. It's the same thing with the physical and special split. You struggle to go back before it, which is why
yeah,
people are. I think that's partially why people are so desperate for Diamond and Pearl remakes. They want,
yeah.
which I,
It's not only that, but it's also why whenever you play a ROM hack of Gen 3, they always have the physical special split in them
yeah, it's because
every time.
it's exactly the thing. People, a lot of people see using the Gen 3 engine with Gen 4 onwards mechanics as like the ideal,
Yeah,
and the reason it's not Gen 4 is because there's limitations. But honestly, there's a lot of backtracking because the amount of
yes.
times you have to go through Mount Coronet. I mean,
Mount Coronet is the middle of the region, and you have to go through Mount Coronet a total of 3 times, technically. You have to go through it to. You have to like go through it to get from the second gym to the third gym. Well, in Platinum anyway.
you have
Well,
to go
it's
for the
in the third
first
gym
gym as
over.
well. I think.
No, that's a different cable together.
Is it? Okay, I
It's a
get.
different cable
See,
together.
there's so many like little ones like that they mix up.
Um, yeah, so you have to go through it to get from Eternal City to Hearthome. Then you have to go through it to get from Celestic Town up to the I can't remember the name of the ice gym city, but up to the top of Snowy Mountain. And then you have to go through it again to get to Mount Coronet Peak to go stop Team Galactic. Then
You're
go.
thinking of Snow Point.
That's it. It's no point.
Yeah. That's not even taking into account the amount of times you have to do backtracking for Team Galactic's sake,
Not
because
only that, you have to go out to Jubilife to like get to the sixth gym as well, and then
mm,
you then have to go back to Lake Acuity after going to Lake Valor. Then no, sorry, yeah, you have to go to Lake Valor, then Lake Verity, then up to Lake Acuity, and all this other stuff. Like is the game tries the game feels like it wants to be open,
hmm
but it doesn't. But it very much ends up being like you do fetch quests here, here, and here at all
which
times.
I feel is a kind of a huge contributor towards the linearity of Gen 5 onwards, because I think
Yeah,
a lot of people were unsatisfied with how much backtracking you had to do,
yeah,
because it is kind of absurd.
yeah. It feels very much like it feels very much like a first-person RPG more than it does a Pokemon games sometimes because you got to go like here, there, and everywhere just do one little thing. Like even in the side quests, you have to do that.
Mm.
Like even in the side things, like there's a guy in one of the cities that wants you to I think it's Salacian Town where he wants you to go show him Pokemon for heart scales. Well, those Pokemon could be on the other side of the planet and also rare because it's random every day which one he chooses, and he also chooses a random level of it as well. So
Mm.
you then have to get it to the right level. It feels very much like busybody work sometimes.
Which is a shame, because I think the Sinnoh region itself is actually wonderful.
I think the Sinnoh region, like going through the Sinnoh region when you don't have to backtrack, is really really nice.
There's a good variety on the locations.
Yep.
There's genuinely the music is good. The pacing of the routes, none of them particularly go on too long.
You mentioned the music. The music in Gen 4 is fantastic.
Mm.
The
Yeah,
music in Gen 4 is the best part of Gen 4.
it's
Gen
fantastic.
4 just has fantastic music.
Mm.
There is no doubt about it that Gen 4 is one of my favorite soundtracks. Like Gen 5 pops off, but Gen 4 is always where it's at. Like it's so good.
Yeah, like honestly, my favorite. I do like. I would say like every city kind of is memorable. Again, like Gen 3's and Gen 2's were, and it's just in a different way to where I think it's the music this time, where instead of the visuals.
Yeah, yeah. You know which city you're in based on what the music's playing, and they actually did it a lot in Gen 5 as well. Like I can remember like the main cities where I used to go for stuff. I can remember all their music. And even without really listening to him this playthrough, I didn't even need the audio on during my playthrough to know
hmm
what the musics for each of the towns were.
Mm.
I just
And
know what they are,
hmm
and it's so nice because it's actually just such a big kind of identifying factor for what the towns are.
hmm seeing as we covered the region, what goes along with Gen 4's region is its story, which is the cause of the backtrack. What do you genuinely think of this Gen 4 story?
I like Cyrus a lot. I think his plan is the most interesting out of every single villain
hmm
that Pokemon's ever had.
hmm
But I don't like the rest of Team Galactic
Yeah,
because
it's gone.
they very much are just team whatever the team is from Gen 5 Nick in Pokemon
Plasma,
and pardon?
plasma.
Plasma. That's it. They're very much just Team Plasma, but actually wanting to take over the world. Unlike in Gen 5 when it's no, let's save Pokemon and liberate
Oh,
them until we get.
yeah, I get you saying they're kind of generic.
Yeah, they're very much just Team Rocket again. Even the admins, whatever they're called,
Mars,
the
Jupiter, and Venus, I
Mars,
believe.
Mars, Jupiter, and whatever her name is,
Venus.
they are very much just kind of generic Team Rocket.
Yeah, which is a shame because they're visually they're like the best one so far.
Yeah, but Cyrus is a very interesting villain.
Yeah, I think the only thing with Cyrus is sometimes he talks in very vague monologues.
That is one thing that is better about Platinum over like Pearl and Diamond though, is his plan is so much better in Platinum because of the whole distortion mode stuff. It makes so much more
Yeah,
sense.
because isn't he just trying to create a new world?
Yeah, basically in Diamond and Pearl, he wants to use the power of Dialga and Palkia to basically create a new world using using their ability to manipulate time and space.
Hmm.
In Platinum, what he wants to do is he wants to use the power of Garatina to merge the two worlds together.
Hmm.
Thus, everything breaks down and then creates a new world. And I can get behind merging two worlds into one. I'm not sure I can get behind as much as destroying the universe and reversing
Hmm.
time to make your new universe.
It's definitely an ambitious Pokemon game because it has a lot more cutscenes than Gen 3 did, and honestly, like it evolves. The reason it evolves the backtracking because it tries to keep areas relevant. Because, as mentioned, there's three lakes which are related to the trio for this game, and
Yep.
that's why the backtracking exists because
For it. Yep.
the game's artificial way of pushing you through is to go
Yeah.
to those lakes because obviously Snow Point's the last one you go to because it's up north, but you end up going back round just to the other ones to get to
Yeah. You have
push.
to go to. Yeah. You have to. You basically get pushed here, there, and everywhere on
Mm-hmm.
the whim of the story, which I know some. Which I know as a kid I wouldn't have paid any attention to. I would have been just like, oh, I'm exploring.
Mm.
But nowadays I'm just kind of like, nah, I ain't got time for this, dude.
Mm. Yeah, and it's still I think it's reasonably solid. I think it's so far. I think maybe it's nostalgia. I think I would say the Heart Soul Silver is on out of Gen 1 to Gen 4 is the best story because it takes Gen
Yeah.
2s and makes it just bit better, rough edges removed. But this one is honestly
Yeah.
still very ambitious. You honestly get we haven't mentioned the rivals so far Barry, but you get honestly basically who's someone who's an upgrade on Brendan May.
Yeah, like Barry is your rival, but he isn't someone who you hate. He was just a childhood friend who is basically having just a general competition with you of who can be the best that no one ever was. That's very much what he's doing. He's just having a competition with you. And honestly, it really frustrates me because he has like one of the best teams a rival can get, regardless of what starter you pick, and he still loses to everyone, even the galactic guys. He
Mm.
has like a Snorlax, a Heracross, like Staraptor. He has a bunch of good Pokemon,
Mhm.
and he still loses.
Yeah, and you even battle alongside him sometimes.
Yep, and he's garbage then as well.
Yeah,
It
we,
really annoys me because I think they were scared to make a rival who was actually good because they later did it with the Black and White 2 rival where he actually has a good team and he's actually hard to beat. Like the Black and White, like the Black and White rivals actually have some battles which are actually kind of scary to go up against.
mm,
Much like they were obviously scared of something happening like the dreaded Rival 2 fight in Gen 3 in Emerald especially, with that one actually being kind of a hard point for a lot of people to get by.
yeah, I get you.
They were very, very scared of that happening again, but with Barry's just kind of there for most of the game, and he's not really the best rival. A lot of people don't like him, and I can see why. Because he is kind of not really a rival, he's just kind of a dude that you battle every now and then.
He's kind of a bit like he's basically the epitome of the Gen 6 onwards
Yeah.
rival. They're the friendly rival. They're not obnoxious, but you don't hate. They're not obnoxious. They're not great. They're just there.
Yeah. That's something about Gen 6
Mm.
which like we all get to talk about. There's too many rivals.
Uh, yeah, that was obviously done because they wanted to promote the buddy thing. But anyway, we'll get the Gen 6 one day. Oh boy, that'll be an adventure. But I briefly mentioned it there, but this game brought back and kind of pushed on a bit further with the double battle partners because it had had a few of them
Yes,
actually.
there was so the places where you have double battle partners are You have I don't remember all their names off the top of my head,
No.
but you can rebattle them later once like you get the post game. But you have a partner with a Chansey in Eterna Forest.
Hmm.
In the Magma Crater, whatever it's called, the place where Heatran is, you have a dude with a Claydol in there who's looking for Heatran, same as you. In Victory Road, there's a girl. I can't remember what Pokemon she has, but there's a girl there who gets you through Victory Road, and there's also Riley on Iron Island who has Lucario.
Hmm.
And all these people you can actually rebattle like later.
Yeah, and you can actually like, I believe you can fight alongside them in facilities and area or
I
somewhere.
believe so.
I'm particularly remember doing that where they can pop up somewhere for you. And
Yeah.
that was absolutely the case for like it made it really cool because even particularly the Riley one because that was a reference to the movie 8.
Yes, it was. It was a reference to Lucario Mystery Mew or something,
Hmm.
wasn't it? That's what the
Yes,
movie's called.
yes, and he even at the end of it gives you a Riolu, which is the only way of getting it in the game, I believe.
Yes, it is. He gives you a Riolu egg. It's the only way to get a Lucario in the game.
Yeah, and that's really cool because and thus born the Lucario must be put in every Pokemon game kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
because Lucario is generally that popular. Because honestly, when you look at it, a lot of the Gen 4 Pokemon are that popular. They're significantly loved. I
Yeah.
don't. It's ridiculous, but regardless, like we said about the backtracking. Did you ever find the EXP in Gen 4 to be a bit all over the place?
If you fight everything in Gen 4, you're over leveled.
Yeah, I find I remember like I think I just fought things like I didn't fight everything I saw. I just everything that was there. I'd fight things that were in my direct way.
Yeah, like here's the thing: if you fight all the trainers in Gen 4, you are so over leveled, it's unreal.
Hmm. So I remember going to what's his name? I'm gonna quickly go Pastoria Gym. I remember particularly
Hey,
there being under
Crash
leveled, and I
Awake.
was like, how am I under leveled?
Yeah, Crash Awake, you need to be mid 30s to beat him.
Hmm.
And sometimes if you're well, the issue is in Gen 4, if you're training whole team Pokemon, you won't be that high. But if you're training one Pokemon, you're like level 50 by that point. It's pretty
Yeah,
bad.
it's really imbalanced in that aspect. And
Yeah, because I played through when I was playing through last time in this one. I literally just used Empoleon for most of my playthrough,
Mhm.
and he was like a good 30 levels above everything else for the whole run, even with the EXP share on other Pokemon.
And and the way they do EXP share was honestly a reference to the Gen 1 version of getting the EXP all in that game, where you just get it from one of the assistants after seeing enough Pokemon, I believe.
Yes, I think it's only like 30 Pokemon to get it.
Yeah, it was like you get it after like the second gym, isn't it?
Yes, it's half second gym.
Yeah, it's like on the cycling road area.
Yes, right before getting in Cycling Road.
Yeah, and honestly, while we're on to the region, the game kind of okay. I kind of do like that the game does try to have the Gen 3 philosophy of layering the layering the routes,
Yeah,
where there are two paths normally. There's an upper route and a lower route normally. Where like, use cycling road for example. There's the one that goes to the cave where you. There's another person there actually. I can't remember. Do you know what I'm talking about?
which one?
There's a person. There's a double powered person in there because you can walk around and get Gibble.
Yes.
Yeah, there's the same thing like with the routes that use defog. There's like two routes. There's always multiple ways of getting through routes,
Yeah,
and that's how you find all the trains. That's obviously how I missed a lot of the trains because I've only tried one route. Off I go. But it just showed that they were showing the layering of depth before returning to linearity with further entries.
yeah,
But that's honestly a minor point to be honest. I
yeah.
feel. But what isn't minor, honestly, is the number of legendaries in this game. The number of legendaries is quite significant. Do you actually know how many there are?
There are there's the Lake Trio, which is Yuxi, Mesprit, and Azelf. There is Garatina, Dialga, and Palkia. There's Regigigas.
Mm-hmm.
if you have the three Regis. And there's Moltres, Articuno, and Zapdos.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Heatran and Cresselia.
Mm-hmm.
It would base game, but if you have like the events, you get Shaman, Darkrai, and Arceus.
Yeah, so that's 18 legendaries in total, which is kind of absurd for a Pokemon game.
What's okay? Platinum has one issue with legendaries. Why does it like roaming legendaries so much?
Yeah, Hard Gold Soul Silver kind of did this as well, didn't it?
Hard Gold Soul Silver has three roaming
Is
legendaries.
it just the dogs?
It's the two dogs and Latias or Latios.
Yeah.
But Gen 4 has, well, if you're playing Platinum, if like you're playing Pearl and Diamond, there's only two, which is Mesprit and Cresselia. But if you're playing Platinum, there's Mesprit, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, and Cresselia that all roam.
Mm-hmm.
And you're used to using Master Balls on your roaming legendary. Now that don't work in this game. You have to use Mean Look. And there's only specific Pokemon that get Mean Look, because unless you trade up a dog trio from Pow Park, from one of the GVA games, you ain't getting Arena Trap. And they're actually really hard to catch. Like, you basically need to get a Crobat and pray that, like, you basically Master Ball on Zapdos, and you pray your Crobat can live against the rest of them. Like, it's really, really bad.
Yeah, it's kind of absurd how many there are. It kind of is a little bit tedious. But
Yeah, because it's just ridiculous. And, like, obviously the only way to get them to appear consistently is to, like, cheese their spawning points, so...
Yeah, can you like just save right before you go to them, or was it just a case of?
You can save, but the way you cheese their spawn points is by continuously entering and exiting a route. They change their locations, and you just do it until they're in the route that you're in.
Oh yeah, I used to do that all the time. Yeah, I used to do that with Gen 3 as well. Actually, I think that's in Gen 3 as well.
Everyone did that with Gen 3, but in Gen 3 there was much easier way to check in, because obviously you just put on a max repel and have Pokemon that are weaker than them up front.
Mm-hmm.
Or like because they're all at level 50, you just need to be under level 50, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think then you're above 60. But yeah. So in Gen 3, you could use the Acrobat and go hop in the grass, and every time you hopped, it would count as you running a tile of grass. So you could Acrobike hop and not waste much of your max repel.
Mm-hmm.
Just go in and out of the cycle road. But yeah, the best place to do it in Gen 4 is if you go to Jubilife City and go down. The route literally right down from there has grass. Literally, as soon as you step out to the right, instantly. So you can just go there and go in and out of Jubilife until they show.
Yeah, I used to do the one right by Canalave City actually.
Yeah, that's also a good one as well.
Yeah, and that gives you the dreaded Lake Trio theme. I do love the music in this game, but that one's kind of cursed.
Yeah.
Because the anxiety it gives me in my head, I'm like, oh, not this again. Because
Yep.
I feel like the Lake Trio are like the hardest of the trio so far to catch.
Yeah. Azelf's fast and strong. Uxie can take a hit, and Mesprit just runs away every time.
Yeah, I've never think I've ever got. The only time I've ever got Mesprit was an Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. But
Yeah.
when you actually look at it, I think the designs for most of these legendaries are honestly outside of Heatran and Cresselia, really, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Giratina, I'll let you speak.
It's fantastic.
That was what was added in Platinum. In the original Diamond Pearl, it was in Turnback Cave, and I didn't know anything going in there. And did you have this? I assume you had the same thing. You're just casually walking around. And you just see the eyes, and like whoa, 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 like that.
Yeah, no, you run around aimlessly until like Giratina appears, and then you see this man just stood there, and you talk to him, and there's this level 70 ghost dragon staring at you like, "Hey man, you ready
Yeah,
to fight me?" You're like, "Oh no,
yeah,
get away from me!"
yeah. I went in with like 2 Pokeballs. I was like, ah, whoopsie, I'm done. It wasn't great.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can even keep the origin form in like Platinum and Hard Gold Soul Silver.
If you put the Grisius orb on your Giratina, it puts it into origin form. I can't remember what the other one's called, but it's called
Altered form.
It's like alternate form, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so basically you just keep it in origin form like all the time because origin form changes up both its forms have different stats, but its HP is still ridiculous in both forms. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, and the other two of that trio.
I like Palkia a lot.
Yeah, Palkia I used to genuinely despise. I don't know what about it, but I finally kind of. I think it was this Diamond and Pearl sprite I didn't like.
Yeah, its sprite's like the sprite it has in Platinum
It's
is
really
much
nice.
better.
Yeah, like
But Dialga is just such a cool Pokemon,
yeah,
and
I
if
like
you played the Mystery Dungeon games of this gen, so Time, Darkness, and Sky, Dialga is such a big pivotal moment of those games.
yeah, because you get like a primal kind of Dialga more or
Primal,
less, don't you?
yeah, it's Primal Dialga,
Mm.
yeah,
And it kind of looks awesome. Isn't it basically like a
yeah.
shiny sprite?
No, it looks completely different,
Okay, but yeah, like I
but
love
yeah,
I love Dialga. I love the theme of those two as well.
yeah,
And like Heatran's probably one of the ones I don't particularly care for because it just looks kind of okay.
yeah.
Like Regigigas, okay, that one's cool. I like its
Okay,
abilities and so on.
Regigigas is such a meme Pokemon. It should be good, and it's really upsetting that it's not. Like, it's really angering because all they did was they just took this Pokemon that had like mediocre type and like because normal is not a good type for like a legendary really. It
Hmm.
can't even learn moves like Protect and just gave it like the most debilitating ability. They basically slacking another normal type. And then in Platinum, it's even more of a meme because in Diamond and Pearl, you catch him at level 70.
Hmm.
In Platinum, you catch him at level 1.
Yeah, because when you look on the Cerebi guide, bring your weakest Pokemon to fight it. It's just such a bad meme.
You literally just use False Swipe and then throw Pokeballs at it.
Hmm.
Because it can't kill you. It literally cannot kill you.
Yeah.
Like, you just False Swipe it, then just kind of go ham
Mm.
with Pokeballs because it can't kill you. It's really, really weird. I don't know why they made it level 1. That's a design choice that I'm never going to understand ever.
Yeah, I think part of it might be to do with. I think they were trying so hard to push Regigigas' popularity because you have like events with a movie Regigigas. I'm pretty confident. Like I think it was movie 11 Regigigas, where if you took that into the game, you could get the other Reggies. Yeah, 11th movie. Yeah, so like, they were genuinely trying to push like you having a Regigigas,
Yeah.
and I don't know why they made that one level 1 if they're gonna give you another one, but they may as well just made it. May have just well have made it an event legendary, in my opinion.
Yeah.
At that point,
It's just such a
I
ridiculous.
find Cresselia kind of disappointing as well because it's another roaming psychic. I don't know why the obsession is with roaming psychics.
I don't know. I like Cresselia, but I do kind of agree it is kind of just a thing that exists.
Hmm.
I do kind of like the whole lore with like the wing item. I can't remember the exact wing item, but the wing item that it's related to.
Oh yeah, yeah, because you use it to heal a kid.
Yeah, you use it to heal the kid of the nightmare of Darkrai because that's who Cresselia's rival is in the story.
Hmm.
Because technically Cresselia is like the wish granting Pokemon kind of in term, and Darkrai is the grantor of like nightmares basically.
Hmm.
And technically they're a duo, which is kind of cool that a Dark and a Psychic type are actually a duo like that.
Hmm. Yeah, and speaking of Darkrai is an event legendary in these games, and
Oh, I love me some Darkrai, boy.
yeah, like the events in this game are kind of really good. Like, you have obviously
Sadly, they weren't exactly released where we live. I only accessed
no.
them through cheating devices when I was younger.
So I got lucky. So you know the which one is it? The Shaman one. I was in
Yeah.
America just conveniently at the time, and I think it was one of
So
the
you actually got that one legit.
like you just like if you just I think that was on Mystery Gift. I just was in America and it is registered. I don't think I should have been able to, but
Yeah,
or I may have cheated. Honestly it's been
I
12
cheated to get
years.
the action replay because I had the Arceus one, and the only way you can get the Arceus one was via cheating because they never actually released the event for Arceus. All the data is in the game, but they never released it.
Darkrai was definitely released. I know that one for sure.
Darkrai was released, yeah.
Yeah, Darkrai they're pretty cool because they actually give them proper events rather than just like the Fire Leaf Green kind of thing of here's Ho and Lugia. Cool.
there are like stories and lore
Yeah,
related to
like
them.
Deoxys,
Like
they kind of tried a little bit. Mew, they tried to have a little mini game. Now they just went lore.
like when you get the shaman one, Professor Oak rolls up and starts talking to you about stuff, and then
You
you
get a
get
new route.
an entire route with a very, very, very long pathway. Like for the Darkrai one, you basically go into a kid's nightmares to basically stop Darkrai from killing this kid, basically. And then for Arceus is so simple. You literally go to Mount Coronet, play its flute, and you get stairs that ascend to God, basically.
I still think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
And even doesn't Arceus have its own theme? I don't remember.
yeah, I believe it
I
does.
think, and also this is back when Gen 4 is back when it's called Arceus or something. I think.
Arceus, or something. It's now like Arceus or
I
something.
don't.
I don't.
I prefer the
Time.
Arceus, to be honest.
I don't know how to pronounce like this stuff half the time because they change pronunciations all the time, and people go by what the anime says 90% of the time.
Yeah, it's not. It's not uncommon for franchises to change names. Luxord.
Yeah,
Yeah, but like I do like again too many roaming legendaries, but the majority of them are great.
yeah.
It's the same again. It's in line with the Pokemon section. Great, and in line with the Gen 1 to Gen 2 jump, there's a lot of content in this game that is kind of under the rug in a way. Power Park is the way of getting Pokemon from Gen 3 to Gen 4, and
Yep.
that's just simply 6 a day, unless you just abuse the clock in the correct way of just getting from certain games, which is the way of like because a lot of Pokemon aren't accessible in Gen 4 unless you have it.
They also actually do something different, which I think you've actually maybe forgotten about. Basically, Power Park was one way to get Pokemon to it, but you also got specific Pokemon and different routes depending on the GBA cartridge you had inside.
Yeah, I was gonna mention
You
that.
actually got the specific Pokemon that were exclusive to that game appearing on specific routes, which was actually one of the best features that they ever used the GBA slot for,
Mm.
outside of like Power Park stuff, obviously. But the fact that it rewarded you for collecting the old games as well as the Power Park of you being able to go and catch these Pokemon was genuinely a good idea.
Yeah, and honestly, like, here's the thing, I use it a lot. Most of my Pokemon are still on Gen 4. I probably should move them soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Power Park, outside of... Nowadays, I think Home is... Home... What's the other one called?
Home and what Bank did are both
Is Bank still
good.
alive?
I believe so.
Okay. But it's,
You could they're like different apps, so you can
okay.
transfer from Bank to Home.
Mhm.
No, from Bank to Home. But once you've done that, that's it. They can only go to Gen 8.
That's fair enough. I mean, that's the thing, like... I still think that... I still think that the Home and Bank are obviously superior because you can bypass the whole game to game to game. You just go boom, boom, new, done.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, as soon as you have one game, you never have to like start over or trade over all of like your Pokemon. You just plop them in Bank, and then you just kind of go, I want to start again for a bit
Hmm.
because it doesn't actually. All that would change is the trainer ID, which would then make them a traded Pokemon, which doesn't exactly matter.
It
'Cause
doesn't
it's
matter, no. Yeah, it's like I do think that was kind of cool. It definitely, yeah, it's like the GBA insertion thing did help. It was pretty cool. There's also like what was it called, Amity Square or something?
the
Where
walking place in Hartham.
yeah, yeah, where you can walk Pokemon, and that was obviously like something I was setting up for Heart Gold, Soul Silver.
Yes, that was obviously a testing ground for
Hmm.
Pop Gold, Gold
Yeah,
Silver,
because
and
they
what
would
they.
only let quote unquote cute Pokemon in. I
Oh
remember.
wow! Well, no, in Platinum you can take your starter regardless of what evolution it's in. But yeah, before that in Diamond and Pearl, it was quote unquote cute ones.
It basically whichever ones were easy to model, probably.
Yeah. Wow. It was ones that were kind of like it was like Cleffa, Pachirisu, Mime Junior, things like that.
Things like
But
yeah,
like
little ones. Yeah, there was
yeah,
also like
mostly baby Pokemon, and I think Pikachu could as well.
yeah. One of the good things about tracking the legendaries, I did not mention this, was through the Pokétch, where you could have the thing with
Yeah,
you could just
yeah,
see
yeah.
where
The map.
all of them were. Old games, you'd have to go into the Poké. It was just very
You have
tedious.
to actually go into the map the town map screen in Heart Gold Soul Silver to find them. Like, and then obviously in Gen 2 Originals, where they first introduced it, we had to go into the Pokédex
Mm-hmm.
to find them.
Same as Gen 3, yeah.
Yeah,
It was kind of obnoxious, but like, that is one of the best things they've ever done with that whole roaming system.
yeah,
Like, it does make it a lot less tedious. But again,
yeah,
because of the sheer frequency of them, you just run into them at every other route. It feels like,
yeah,
which kind of devalues them partially as well. You could argue.
yeah.
There's also super contests, which they were there for their being sake for the sake of it. I felt like.
There are better versions of the contest than what you had in Gen 3, though.
They are. It's just, I think contests I still never clicked with them.
Yeah, they are better in like Gen 4 though than they are anywhere else.
hmm Yeah, like there is a lot of content that's just kind of overshadowed just because of the battle system changes. I feel,
Yeah.
but other things that are battle mechanics. What do you think? How would you like say this game is difficulty wise?
I don't think it's too hard.
No.
I think it's pretty easy. Honestly, the hardest fight is actually the champion.
Yeah, I think okay.
That's when the difficulty takes a huge spike. It's the
Yeah,
champion. That's it.
yeah. I believe like throughout the game, there's the odd hard fight. It's a very smooth ride. Cyrus, not Cyrus. Is it Cyrus? I keep getting his name.
What, the Galactic guy?
Yeah, yeah. I keep getting his name probably. Like
Yeah, yeah, sorry.
he is pretty tough actually.
Yeah, but I don't think the game is as hard as like
No,
the game is nowhere near as hard as like Black and White 2.
I don't even think Black and White 2 was that hard, but again, we'll get to that. I mean, I think for that one, I just kind of had the perfect team.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I think Diamond and Pearl were harder than Platinum,
I think Diamond and Pearl just harder to get through than Platinum
probably.
because of how bad the battle mechanics are in those games in terms of speed.
Yeah, because I felt like none of the gym leaders particularly
None of the
hard.
gym leaders are that hard in Gen 4.
The only one that felt a bit awkward to deal with was Volkner because it was just randomly lightning last, which is fair enough. I like that they changed it up. Because
Yeah.
I just had nothing to counter Chick properly at that point. It was just a bit like, oh hello, at this point in the game. It was really strange. But
Higher types. Oh no.
speaking of that, that's Sunny. I can't remember the name. It's Sunny Shore.
Sunny Shot.
Yeah, that's where like Olivia from Argo Soul Silver shows up. Who is
Jasmine.
it's pretty. So I keep getting the name. Sorry.
Yeah,
It's
thinking
called
of
Olivine.
you're thinking of Olivine Town.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting mixed up. Yeah, it was kind of at that point. It's like Gen 2 remakes are happening. Gen 2 remakes are happening. It was very blatant at that point. But no, like the Victory Road, pretty good, I'd say.
Future is alright. And generally the Elite Four members are actually pretty good as well.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the bug guy. The ground one is just Bruno but worse.
Mhm.
I like the fire guy, even though he has to use a Flareon because fire types there's very few fire types in Gen 4. Like he literally has every single fire type that's in Gen 4 on his team basically.
Yeah, we didn't mention this earlier, but they did actually add in Glaceon and Leafeon into this one just to round
Oh,
off
yeah.
the ones that were left, more or less. Well, the ones that were left, I say, as there's still no Dragon Eevee to this day.
The psychic one was actually just Will but better. Will from Gen 2 but better. I can't remember. I think his name's Lucian, is that his name?
Something like that. I do find it strange that they did shove like him in when basically they were gonna have one winning Heart God Soul Silver. I think I think it's just a case of what types you got left over to use. Whoops.
Yeah, and then Cynthia basically throws a spanner in the works and bodies the crap out of you.
Yeah, like honestly, I think it's honestly just one of the hardest Pokemon fights I've ever seen in my life.
Cynthia is a very, very, very hard champion, much like Iris is in Gen 5, where they just have such a diverse team that you have to be prepared for anything. Like the Spiritomb, her Spiritomb just bashes you with psychics. The Milotic can recover. The Roserade can poison you. The Togekiss is a power flincher. It likes to go for flinches, and it has Serene Grace, so it gets double the chance of flinches. Um, the Garchomp, like, and the thing is, I believe her levels are nerfed in Platinum.
I have no idea to be honest, but like,
I'd have to look, but basically, like, she was even harder in Diamond and Pearl, in all honesty, because I don't remember. It was just kind of, the Garchomp was such a beast to deal with. It's like level 66 or
yeah,
something
I feel like
ridiculous.
her team just is just full of ones that just absolutely can just destroy you, like with one hits or two hits, like really strong, good setup moves.
Yep.
I remember because I think that's most people that will be the first time they see a Spirit Tomb,
Yes, it will be the first time you see a
and you're
Spirit
like,
Tomb.
what the living heck is this?
Yeah, you know, what the
What
living
what
hell
type
am
is
I
Spirit
looking at?
Tomb again? Actually,
And then I will be real. Gen 4 was like Cynthia was the first time I'd ever used X items when I was a kid.
what type are you?
It's Ghost Dark. It
Oh,
had
that
no
is
weakness.
horrible. That is horrible to deal with.
It had no weakness in Gen 4.
What's his weakness now? Is it fairy?
Which one?
What's his what's his weakness now then?
Fairy.
Ah, so they basically had a kind of a whoopsie doopsie moment there.
Well, yeah, well, because Sableye was in the same boat as it as well.
Hmm. Yeah, I kind of sit there and like you kind of go off to the worst possible start by having a Pokemon you kind of can't you know uh, hurt properly. Like if you look you when you look at it design wise, you think it's just like a ghost. You think it's a ghost, absolutely. So
Yeah.
you first thing you do is either a ghost or a
You would go through
psychic.
Ghost move and it does normal damage, and you're like,
Uh oh, I'm
hang
in
on a
danger.
second. Yeah.
And by that point, like I'm pretty. It's like its moves start kind of messing with you. Know? You start getting messed with mentally by it.
Yeah.
I think the fight. I think that's the kind of the Pokemon that kind of just does the fighting for you because you're mentally unstable from it.
Yeah. You have no idea what's coming your way, and then
Yeah.
a Spiritomb gets lobbed at you.
Mhm. And honestly, the levels. I feel like the levels of her team, even though they're like high 50s, low 60s, they still feel really high
Yep.
because like the Elite Four the Elite Four starts.
The Elite Four are around 50 the entire way around. And then you get to Symphony, and it goes, oh, BT dubs, here's a level 60.
Yeah, like you have the odd Pokemon. They start going upwards. They're like mid
It's like
50. They're mid
52
50s.
or something. It's like the highest one from there.
Lucian has 53, 55, 54, 56, and 59, which you
Yeah.
expect the hard one to be hard, but like again, it's like Gallade. It's like you still find a psychic trait. You know what you're coming up against,
Yep.
and then you get Cynthia, and it's just, woo boy, she can just I don't know. She's just tough, and when I did this last year, I just sat there on Spiritomb because I realized Spiritomb couldn't kill me. I just went, I'm just gonna stack up on items.
Yep.
It's the only time I've ever sat there and stacked on them because I knew I had to because I was sitting there like this specifically with Empoleon. What one Pokemon could destroy me? Lucario
Yep.
and Garchomp, depending on moves, you know. So I had to go there, and it actually, ironically, was the Milotic that did me in. But it was still like absurdly tough fight, and it definitely lives up to the legacy of it. I genuinely think it is. It. I think it is. It's how people see Rival Two fight. It
Yeah.
genuinely is like. It doesn't help the music is so incredibly intimidating.
Oh yeah.
That is.
Oh yeah.
It's the most intimidating champion theme.
Oh yeah. No. You basically when you walk, you notice a mistake when you walk in and you see Cynthia's like, and you just hear the theme of the piano going do do do, and you're like, oh no, what have I got myself into?
Oh wait. Where is it? It's the Cynthia theme. I'll just put that one. Oh, where is it? I'm trying to find it actually. Yeah, Piano Before Cynthia. Like, I'm just gonna play it right now. It is just the most anxiety-inducing thing. Like, woo boy. It's just kind of absurd. Honestly, I think it's one of the things that the game This sounds dumb, but the game wins because it gets in your head before the fight.
Oh yeah, no. The music starts playing and you're like, I fucked up, boys.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm like, can
I
I
think
back out?
I think that is such a smart way of actually doing it. Like you don't even have to, because when you look at it, Cynthia's Pokemon aren't that bad.
But when
To
they're all
fight,
put together, her team is just very, very strong
yeah,
when they're
but
all
when you
together.
come together with the game getting into your head, the Spiritomb at the start, especially for Gen 4, you're like, oh, uh-oh. Because it does throw, it's like at the curveball of Metagross in Gen 3. Like,
Yeah.
if Steven wasn't a Steel-type trainer, that Metagross would have been a big, like, uh-oh.
Uh-oh, I'm in danger.
Yeah, because you're like, what is this? In Emerald, they did something to kind of accommodate for that, for his Metagross existing, because they had Beldum and Metang when he had fought alongside him. But
Yep.
here, like, the game just gets into your head, and honestly, I think it's one of the most satisfying fights to win, even though you have to kind of cheat, kind of.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I know you stopped after there, but that's not where Gen 4 ends. Gen 4 has a lot more afterwards, to be honest.
Yes, it does.
Because you don't even get the national decks yet. Like Gen 3, Emerald gave you the national decks when you beat the game. It's like, alright, go Battlefront, go. Ruby Sapphire, if you traded a Pokemon over, and Fire Red Leaf Green, it was just catch 60 Pokemon, which honestly I thought is quite a lot for how short Gen 1 is in terms of
Yeah.
Pokemon. But still, if that was Let's Go, I'd be like, oh, sure, fair enough. 60, right, there we go. Um,
60 easy, boys.
yeah, I got like 120 in my playthrough casually. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, once you get that, you go to the, is it the Battle Resort? Yeah, it's got
Yes,
a
I think.
really weird name that I don't think that island actually has a name, annoyingly.
Yeah, I don't remember what the
It's
name of
just
the
called
island
the
is,
Battle Resort. It's like, okay,
like
cool.
basically there's a bunch of cities there,
Mm.
and
They're really pretty.
yeah,
And that's where you have your
basically
post game.
yeah, and basically the only real draw going there is Heatran, a few extra items, some strong trainers, and then the big boy mode, the Battle Frontier.
Mm-hmm.
Rub your hands together, let's go mode.
The thing I've never touched in my life.
Yeah,
I've never beaten Platinum until last year, because I'd played Platinum in 2000, was it 2009, I think it came out over here? Something like that.
yes, I don't remember the
Around,
exact
it's
20.
around that ballpark. I bought it before I went on holiday to America, I believe. And
Yeah,
again, I had Gen 4 fatigue already, I felt like. Because
yeah,
I've been playing Diamond and Pearl non-stop. I'd loved them. I loved them.
yeah,
I think I love Gen 4. I just get fatigued by it. And I got to beating Giratina. I actually, in that playthrough, caught Giratina in my first Pokemon. I popped off so hard when that happened.
yeah,
And I got to the Elite Four and I was like, I cannot be bothered. I wish I'd continued that playthrough because my
yeah,
cartridge is actually dead now. I can't actually use my Platinum file anymore, which is a disappointing. But
yeah.
yeah, you get to the Battle Frontier and there's only 5 facilities, I think. Is it?
There is the Battle Tower, the Battle Factory, the Battle Arcade, the Battle Dome, the Battle Castle.
The arcade.
I've already said the arcade.
Okay. There's Tower, Hall, Factory, Castle, Arcade.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. And
I
that's,
said Dome instead of Hall, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. Honestly,
But yeah, so the Battle Tower is just standard. Battle Factory is the same as the one from Gen 3, where you use rental Pokemon. The Battle Arcade is one where between every single match, it rolls basically a checkboard thing. It basically rolls a roulette wheel, and you get different effects added onto you, which can either make a battle easy, like every one of your opponent's Pokemon goes to sleep, or hard on you, because all your Pokemon go to sleep.
mm-hmm.
There's also then there is the Battle Castle, which is just kind of a standard battle tower, and then you get to battle the butler, and then the quote unquote queen of the castle after that. Then the Battle Hall. The Battle Hall is probably one of the most interesting ones. So the Battle Hall requires you to get an abnormally large amount of wins in a row to fight the factory head for the gold. but the not the Frontier Head, the basically the Frontier Brain for the gold, specifically for the way that it works. Basically, it gives you a list of all the Pokemon types, and they are all assigned a level. Level 1 being easy, and then they get harder and harder the more you do the same type. So if you're a water type and you spam the fire types, eventually you're going to run into things that can actually kill your water type. Because the fights just get progressively harder and harder. Which it's very much a risk-reward system of, do I take a battle with a water type because I have a move that can deal with them? Or do I continuously go for stuff that I can actually kill? With the potential of, I know, you fight a rock type long enough, you get one which has a focus sash and explosion on it. Or something dumb like that, and it one-shots you, and you're like, wow, rip my 100-win streak.
Yeah.
Like, it's very much a risk-reward system, which actually really works for that, because it actually tests your, like, how smart your decision-making is. Because sometimes it's better to take a battle with a Pokemon that you're going to have a long time beating than it is for you to get with a Pokemon that you're going to have an easy time beating, but it could easily just kill you.
Yeah. And the Battle Frontier, I see it's like 50-50 between the Gen 3 and Gen 4 ones, really. From what I see, like, it's if you love whichever gen, it's whichever one you like, pretty much. It seems to be the general consensus. And again, I haven't got any experience with it, but I know on that island as well is the cafe where you can refight gym leaders.
Yeah. Once you go around the whole island, you can there's a little like, this is only in Platinum. This isn't in Diamond and Pearl. But in Platinum, you get a you basically get a thing that you can re-challenge all the gym leaders in a rematch, and you can also rematch all the people that we mentioned earlier, which you double battle with in the specific areas, and they become your partners for a bit. You can refight all of them whenever you want. And you also get like a couple of extra trainers as well that appear there every now and then, if I remember correctly. I don't remember the entire list, but basically they are rematches where they have 6 Pokemon, and they're all like really, really strong, at least level 60s.
Let me just quickly look.
And they bother you. I'm gonna look up as well because I'm
Yeah,
interested.
because I feel like because I'm literally using Cerebee's sources for this. I feel like there was more than I remember.
7 Stars Restaurant, I think that's what it's called.
Okay, top trait. So there's the gym leaders. Yep, Cheryl, Buck.
Yeah, the
Marley. Who's Marley? Is she the one from the underground?
Marley is the one. Let me go look. Marley is. Oh, she's one I forgot about. She is.
I forget half of these.
Oh, I don't know where she is. Hang on, give me a second.
Because Buck's the magma one, right?
Yes.
Well, sorry, Stark Mountain is, I assume. Because he's got the clay doll.
She is the Victory Road one.
Marley is, yeah.
Yeah, Marley is.
Oh, is that the one where you have to go to the right of Victory Road after the Elite Four?
That's the one where she takes you to the Gen 4 thing. To the
Shaman.
To the Shame one, yeah. And Mira is in Turnback Cave.
Turnback Cave?
Yeah, the one where you get Gibble.
Oh, okay, sorry, I keep getting the names of them mixed up. Yeah, Gen 4 Gen 4 I find is horrific for names.
But they all have upgrades to them. So Rourke has a Tyranitar, Gardenia has like a good team. Mayleen's got Hitmontop, a Breloom, and a Machamp. Crash Awake's got his like level 65.
Speaking of weird,
Fantina's got a Dusknoir and Miss Magmius. Byron's team isn't the best, but Magnezone and Skarmory are good. Candice has the Weavile and the Mamoswine.
Go have a look at Riley's team.
Riley's team's like busted, dude.
Absol, Salamence, Metagross, Ursaring, Lucario. I'm like, oh jeez.
Salamence, Metagross, and Lucario are some of the best.
I assume there's a lot of good coverage there.
Yep. Mira's got a good team as well, actually. So Magmazone, Gengar, Togekiss, and Alakazam are very good Pokemon.
Yeah.
Buck has a weird team because Dusknoir and Umbreon are pretty good. It's the shuffle. Cheryl has a Wobbuffet, which is actually kind of interesting, actually. Like, I like Cheryl's team. Her team's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Like, she has a lot of high HP Pokemon.
I feel like the whole thing with Marley is... Like, when you go through her area, isn't that where you get the claw for evolving Weavile?
Maybe.
Because I remember like
Yeah.
not having. I remember having a Sneasel for ages.
Yeah. You can't. Like, they actually added in some hidden item areas to get them in platinum to get them early because
Mm,
otherwise they're not available to like the Razor Fang's not until like Route 228 in post game.
yeah. There's a couple of few other things that are just random in Gen 4, which I don't know how to feel about. Like, there's the sweet honey stuff, which is like
Oh,
it's
the
kind of
trees.
a it's kind of a similar thing to the headbutt in Gen 2, where it's just you're interacting with
Yeah,
trees and
but
come
you have to
back,
wait 6 hours for them to function.
and that's how you potentially get your munchlax. And it's like, oh boy.
Okay, we don't get Munchlax in Gen 4. We don't even talk. Munchlax is such a dumb Pokemon. So
Hmm.
Munchlax has a 1% spawn rate on one random tree, which the game doesn't tell you could be that tree. And the fact is a 1% spawn is just actually ridiculous. Like, it's so stupid.
Are you able to like breed one?
You have to trade up a Snorlax from either Gen 3 or from Heart Gold Soul Silver. But
Jesus.
yes, you can breed it. You can get the full incense. So yeah, so in order to get baby Pokemon outside of Pichu and Cleffa, so you have to use incense on their main Pokemon. So if you want a Munchlax, you need to breed Snorlax with a full incense on one of them, and then a Munchlax will be born.
Hmm.
So you can breed Munchlax if you get a Snorlax, if you can get a Snorlax sent over.
Yeah. There's also like Safari Zone's a little bit wonky in the game. I feel.
Oh, the Great Marsh, yeah.
Yeah, it's called the Great
The
Marsh.
Great Marsh is basically just a area of mud where you can get stuck constantly. And the way the spawns work are really, really weird. So there's some binoculars up the top of the base before you go into the Great Marsh. If you use them, it tells you what Pokemon are spawning in what area. And if it shows you the Pokemon, it just has a higher chance of spawning there. So you can go, oh, Carnivines are there, so I can go there and have a higher chance of getting a Carnivine. But it's just really, really such a weird like thing because you basically have to pay to see what Pokemon you can find today.
Hmm. Yeah. There's also I'm surprised if you haven't brought it up when we're going through the region. There's the underground, which
Oh, the underground.
was that because part of the whole. We'll get into the Wi-Fi in a minute, but it's part of their whole adventure, ambitious kind of
Yeah,
aspect for that.
that's also how you get Spiritomb by collecting 35 to 40. I can't remember if it's 35 or 40, but it's around that number.
It's on the
You
30, yeah.
basically steal flags from your friends' bases and take them to yours, and when you have enough, you can get a Spiritomb.
Yeah, and because the Wi-Fi has been kind of disconnected now, I think
The
you
only way
have
you
to
can
do it
get it
with,
is by finding someone IRL who's willing to sit there.
or if you're
Who
like me and
like
has two DSs.
Yeah, you just make bases next to each other and then just kind of run
Hmm.
between them.
Yeah, that's what I might do if I ever replay Gen 4. This is why I feel like the Gen 4 games, especially like, need to be put on Switch or something like that.
Yeah,
Just because it would be nice. Like, again, I think you could quite comfortably make a built-in emulator for it. It'd be fine. But regardless, it was something that left a lot to be desired. I felt the underground because it felt so empty for what it was.
yeah,
Like, it was good for getting those legendary, not legendary. Sorry, I call them legendary for some reason. Those fossil Pokemon. That's it.
yeah,
Words escape me sometimes, but it's just like it definitely felt like this game was like I said at the beginning, very ambitious, but a little bit kind of modern Game Freaks showing through a bit of not knowing what they're doing
yeah,
and just overestimating them what they can do because
yeah,
they've never been the best at data or knowing the scale of things. Because obviously, like with Gen 7, they just went models per cutscene without compressing it or reusing.
yeah,
But again, I think that's it's something that honestly I think came a gen too early. A
yeah,
lot of some of this stuff I see that as a gen too early, annoyingly, because obviously
yeah,
like we'll get to Gen 5 eventually, but the whole battle system, pacing, and just like variety of Pokemon, roaming legendaries, story focus, difficulty curve, everything just seemed to click when he gets to Gen 5. And one of the things that doesn't click in Gen 4, a lot of people feel, is the HMs.
yeah. HMs are quite
They're
annoying.
This is the distant Gen 3 are the ones that get a lot of the volume about it because
Yeah, they kind of added in. They basically took away Flash and gave us one that's just as useless.
it's
Like
used it for one
Defog,
route.
it's useful in one route and in one part of Mount Coronet. Defog was not really a good move at all until Gen 6. In Gen 6, they gave it other uses in battle. Like in Gen 6 onwards, it removes entry hazards on both sides of the field. So stealth rock spikes, toxic spikes, sticky web, things like that. But yeah, basically, yeah, Defog's just such a useless move. They buffed Rock Smash because people complained about it in Gen 3, but it's still a garbage move. Here's the thing: if it's a TM, Rock Smash is a great move early on.
Wasn't Rock Smash and HM in Gen 2?
It might have been. It
I
might have
don't
been.
remember.
I think it was one in Gen 1 as well. But Rock Smash is just such a garbage move, and they tried to buff it in Gen 4 by making it 40 power, but it's not enough. As a TM though, Rock Smash is a fantastic early game move as a TM
Hmm.
because a 40 power fighting type move that has 50% chance to like lower defense by one stage is really good,
Yeah,
but not as a HM.
right. So
It's
here's the thing that's strange with Rock Smash actually. So it was introduced in Gen 2, so not in Gen 1 at all.
oh, I'm thinking that yeah, I might have been thinking of
Yeah, so
strength or something.
it's a TM in Gen 2, HM in Gen 3, 4, and then a TM in Gen 5 and 6, but HM in ORAS for continuity, and then back to being a TM. It's a
Yeah,
really weird inconsistency of the series.
yeah, but as a TM, Rock Smash is great.
Yeah. And this
As
is
a HM, is garbage
yeah,
tier.
this is the last generation where TMs were single use. And it kind of
Yes.
it started. I think it was for the best because we were starting to get to the point where there are lots of these.
Yep,
I
and
think
the
you.
Gen 4 remakes really showed this with having to need freaking Whirlpool.
Hmm.
Freaking Whirlpool.
Yeah, it certainly is strange, like how much the HMs. Because my opinion, the one that does it for me in this game is probably Defog or wait, I feel like there's more HMs that I'm missing out on.
There is
It's cut.
cut, rocks. There is cut, fly, surf, strength, rock smash, waterfall, and rock climb.
It's only seven. There has to be
Yeah.
an eighth. I swear.
Uh, have I forgotten any? Cut, rock smash, fly. Sorry, I'm gonna have to look up
Yeah, I'm
because
looking at it because I know obviously we have done our research the most, but just when we get off to little things like this,
yeah, it's kind of stuff just kind of escapes. Do Gen 4.
HMs, Gen
Cut,
4.
cut, fly, surf, strength, defog, rock smash, waterfall, and rock climb. There are eight. I don't know why I might have skipped strength on accident.
No, I think it might have been Waterfall or Defog.
I would have said defog. Defog makes me want to cry.
Rock Climb, maybe?
I don't know,
Yeah, it
but
doesn't matter.
but basically, defog is just such a useless move. All it does is lower evasiveness in Gen 4. In Gen 6 onwards, it removes entry hazards, as I've said, so they
Hmm.
gave it use, and they also gave it to more Pokemon that really shouldn't have it, but you know.
Yeah, there's also the Global Trade Station,
Yep.
which is the Wi-Fi thing of I liked it. I actually do like it. Obviously, it was a bit wonky in Gen 4 of how you could try and trade because they
Connecting to Wi-Fi on the original DS was a meme.
yeah, and just of how people behaved with it.
Yeah.
Because it's the first one. Yo, can I have a Darkrai for Piplup, thanks?
Oh, yeah, that was the classic, dude. But people used to Pokestab Pokemon all the time anyway.
Yeah, because I remember when I did ORAS, like, I just put random Pokemon on there. They'd go within seconds.
You would always get something back because people will just Pokestab them.
Well, yeah, and it's also the case of this. The series, honestly, has got a lot bigger since Gen 4,
Yeah,
fan
so
base wise,
so
so more
some
people.
random person will be looking for the Pokemon that you are
Hmm.
offering.
Yeah. Um, is anything else I'm missing so far? I mean, I guess the way to look at it is how would you improve Gen 4? Do you feel if for remakes?
Obviously, the battle system would need to be overhauled, which it would do with a
Yeah.
remake.
So the question I'll ask for that is how would you feel if they put Gen 4 into Gen 8's engine?
I would be fine with that.
I
The
would.
only the only thing that I would want is I would want them to go. I would want them to make the game more like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
Yeah, I wanted to. I would like a Gen 8, but scaled down a little bit.
Yeah, well, because here's the thing: Pikachu and Eevee were such solid games that it annoys me that Sword and Shield kind of messed up all the stuff that they did.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if they just shoved it in the Gen 8 engine and just went, hell yeah, let's go,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. I mean, the thing I see that the big flag would be the obviously wild area. They'd probably try to shoehorn that out or Dynamax him.
Yeah,
Maybe, or they'd probably try. There'd be some gimmicks. I feel like the way that for me improving Gen 4. First of all, given how Gen 8 is gone, they would have to put in, regardless of it, the rest of the Pokemon that are left over.
yes.
And I would like them to just, in terms of like the Let's Go thing, I think from now on Pokemon has to follow the way of only, and I mean only having Pokemon pop up as like in Let's Go. No more
Yeah,
just walk into grass, ruffle. It's no point.
yeah, because the fact that Gen 8 was half and half was kind of annoying, but also you could see why they did it because literally they were such poorly optimized games.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think they could. I think they kind of put the spawn rate a bit too high for what the engine could handle.
Yeah,
But for me, it's like, yeah, you get that. I would, content wise, they're gonna focus on the Diamond and Pearl side of it. But I can accept that they're not gonna put in all of the platinum enhancements. I feel like they'll probably
yeah,
do an ORAS and put in an episode 4 Giratina.
yeah.
Maybe I don't think they'll do the distortion mode. I can't see Game Freak putting it in
Yeah, they would definitely do Diamond and Pearl, not
because
Platinum.
with how they are with making Sword and Shield, and you can see how many cut corners are there. Making the distortion mode would never happen. I can't see him doing it. I cannot see it working
Yeah,
because all that would happen, I feel like, you get to a new map and the camera would rotate to fit in place. That's the only way I could see them getting away with it. And at that point, what's the point?
yeah,
But then I really want them to kind of retain fixed camera angles because it definitely retains the charm. For HMs, I want HMs still, but just cut back a bit, please.
yeah. There's just so many HMs.
You don't because if it's a remake from what ORAS did, where they just kind of dumped them back in, like I said, Rock Smash, which wasn't one in that generation. I
Yeah,
could see them putting it back in, absolutely, yeah, because it's in essence of the game. But I feel like they should probably just remove the ones that aren't really needed for the HMs
yeah,
anymore. Ones like Rock Climb, I think fair enough, keep it. Rock Climb fine because it's tied to the region. It's only an HM in that region. Things like cut, fly, defog, surf, waterfall. I don't know. Maybe at that point, just have more BTMs,
yeah.
or have some gimmick like Let's Go did, or even Gen 7.
Yeah, Gen 7 with its gimmick. Gen 8 just doesn't have HMs at all.
It just, well, I mean, that would require them to actually, make an
that would
effort.
that would actually require them to program puzzles, which we all know that's not what they're about.
I'm sorry, I walked from the beginning to the end of the game. I didn't do anything in that game, but no. Otherwise, I would say that probably following the lines of the later Pokemon games and have I would absolutely say have the kind of backtracking person where it's like, do you want to come back with me to this city? Yes, please.
Yeah,
Because I think that's something that stands out a bit more coming back to Gen 4 actually. Because the games
yeah,
are a lot more hand-holdy now, that it kind of goes, this game needs it a bit.
yeah,
And it would be for its benefit. I think, additionally, having the event legendaries being in the game as actual in-game events, not events in as in like mystery gift, just being straight up programmed in.
yeah,
Because I think for something like that in 2020 would be relatively scummy. If obviously not going to be out in 2020, I mean 2021 at the earliest. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I think it'd be kind of scummy to try and push them off because I think it's not asking for much for like Arceus to have a you just find an item. I don't know from doing a certain you can make a story quest out of it.
yeah.
Same with like the Giratina. You can just have a chain of it. Like once you get Giratina, you can do this done. Have you got anything?
No, not really.
For,
As long as they make like all the legendaries like available that were event only last time, I'm not sure I would really mind too much.
hmm. Yeah, and I wonder how they. You know what I would wonder because we obviously haven't had a Let's Go 2 or roaming. Did we have any roaming legendaries in Gen 8?
No, we don't have any legendaries in Gen 8 till the DLC. Remember?
That's very true. Oh dear.
We had
Um,
Zacian and Zamazenta and Eternatus.
Sorry, I forgot. I forgot they existed. um,
Yeah, we didn't have any other legendaries.
yeah, I feel like I'm very curious how they would do roaming legendaries in those engines.
Yeah,
I think that might be I think they would have the kind of thing where the Pokemon spawns in that region, so that route, and you see it there, and it's static. You go up to it and interact with it, and it runs off like you know how with like in Crystal, and obviously we'll get to Hogwarts or Silver, how Suicune would be in certain areas and you'd interact with it
yeah,
to push its quest along. I would say it'd be like that, where after a while they do go somewhere static. I think that would be the smart play because I think having them constantly, I think people they think Game Freak have learned that no one wants roaming legendaries anymore.
yeah,
Because when the last time there was a roaming legendary, it must have been Gen 5, right? Oh no, Gen 6. Sorry,
yeah. No,
Gen
Gen
6.
6 maybe. Yeah,
Gen 6 with the birds yet again. They've done that again with I believe where they
yeah,
were roaming. But again,
yeah. They were roaming.
that was a kind
They
of
were roaming until you ran into them a few times, and then they went to a static
oh
location.
did they?
Yeah,
I'm gonna have a quick look at that.
in X and Y anyway. If you run into the bird 3 times, um and you then see them from there.
Oh yeah, because they automatically move flee. I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. It's like yeah, that would be make sense. Hmm. Yeah, I think that
Yeah,
would be the smart play, and definitely have the Elite Four rematches like Platinum had. Um, and honestly, if they wanted to add in Gen 5 onwards Pokemon to it, or
yeah,
continuity fixes, go for it because I don't remember if there's any continuity references in Gen 4, Gen 5 onwards about this, but
yeah,
it'd be nice. Obviously Gen 6 onwards is in some other universe. We don't I don't It's a mess. But yeah. Um
yeah,
Again, I thought having a quick thought on that would be neat because all the games we've run so far have all been remade and this is like the next one in line, let's be honest.
yeah.
Like I feel do you think
Before they pull a fast one and remake Gen 5 on us.
let's go. Sorry. Yeah,
Let's go,
I
boys.
would be. Yeah, I think I can quickly mention this now. I think Gen 5 remakes will be the biggest disappointments of remakes in history
Yeah, probably.
because as much as people would think, oh, I don't think Gen 5 needs to be remade. I think it's
No.
good as it is. And the reason why Gen 1, 2, and 3 were remade, to be honest, Gen 1 was not compatible on Gen 3, and they used the other two games. Colosseum and XD to supplement
Yeah,
an Emerald as well. And in this case, they remade Gen 2 for the same reason.
yeah.
And DS games can all be transferred up to 3DS, out to bank and home. But I think at that point you are causing a stretch because you got to go up three handheld generations if you consider the Switch a handheld slash console at the same time.
Yeah.
So that is pushing it. So I think they might do Gen 4 remake soon. Gen 5, given that I would call that a DSi game really because it's that kind of late era, is a long away. I think, especially because it has to be two games. I can't see them not remaking one without the other. Because I
I,
feel in that case, I know we're mentioning Gen 5 here, that they'd obviously do Gen 1. They'd obviously do Gen Black and White 1 year, and then because they'd reuse the assets the next year for the other one.
probably.
Anyway, I think that wraps it up on Gen 4, doesn't it?
I think we've covered everything that we wanted to cover, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you want to play Heart Gold Soul Silver before the next one. Which version are you playing actually?
I have Soul Silver.
Same. Do you have the cardboard box
I do have the cardboard
with
box.
the is it Poker
I have
Walker?
the Cookie Walker somewhere. I don't know where it is, though.
I honestly never used that thing.
I have it somewhere.
Hmm.
I don't know where I put it, though, so...
Yeah. Well, that was a solid time. When I say retrospect, this is the one that's been most, say, troublesome for me to think about because I like Gen 4, but I feel awful for saying I don't like it that much. It's because it's
Yeah,
the engine. The engine weighs so heavily in my factor of enjoyment because it just genuinely was that much of an issue.
yeah, I don't like Gen 4 as much as I used to.
Yeah, I think it sounds dumb. It sounds incredibly dumb saying Gen 4 is fantastic outside of the gameplay. It sounds really bad saying that. Like,
Yeah,
even without animations on, Gen 4 is. Okay, here's the thing Gen 5 with animations on is faster than Gen 4 without animations. That's kind of explaining the speed of Gen 4 in a
yeah,
nutshell.
Gen 4 is really, really bad for that kind of stuff, dude.
And when you start playing a lot of Pokemon games, you do start to notice the differences like that and how much it impacts it. And yeah.
Yeah,
So probably next week, maybe or whenever. Next podcast, episode 5, will be Gen 4 Part 2, which I am looking forward to. I love Gen 2, and I'm happy to talk more about Gen 2 and what is considered the definitive edition. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time. Bye bye.